Hello friends, how are you? I hope you all are doing well. In today's video, we are going to talk about a very important figure, Donald Trump. We will shed light on various aspects of his life, from his birth to 2025, discussing his political career, business successes, failures, and his globally famous policies. So let's begin this video and explore what Trump's life has been like, and what his successes and challenges have been. Before we start the video, I kindly request you all to like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content, so you can stay updated with our new videos. Now, let's get started with today's video. Donald John Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in the borough of Queens, New York City. He was the fourth of 5 children born to Fred C. Trump and Mary Ann McLeod Trump. His father, Fred Trump, was a prominent and highly successful real estate developer who built and managed thousands of homes in New York City's outer boroughs, especially in Queens and Brooklyn. Fred was known for his strong business discipline and conservative approach to construction and finance. These values and strategies would later influence Donald Trump's own business ventures. Donald's mother, Mary Ann McLeod, was born in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland and immigrated to the United States in 1930. She brought with her a deep sense of tradition, modesty, and a strong religious faith, all of which played an essential role in shaping the Trump family culture. Mary Ann married Fred Trump in 1936 and became a U.S. citizen in 1942. Growing up in a wealthy household, Donald experienced a mix of privilege and strict upbringing. His father believed in hard work, discipline, and instilling a sense of responsibility in his children. Despite the family's affluence, the Trump children were not spoiled and were expected to contribute, learn the value of money, and pursue success with determination. Donald had 4 siblings: Mary Ann, Fred Jr., Elizabeth, and Robert. Among them, Mary Ann became a federal judge, while Fred Jr., the eldest son, struggled with alcoholism and passed away in 1981. His death left a deep impact on Donald, who later said it influenced his decision never to drink or smoke. These early family dynamics, values, and experiences laid the foundation for Donald Trump's personality, business drive, and later political ambitions. Donald Trump began his formal education in the New York City school system, but at the age of 13, his parents decided to enroll him in the New York Military Academy, NYMA, a private boarding school located in Cornwall on Hudson, New York. This decision was made due to Donald's energetic behavior and occasional disciplinary issues. His father believed that the structured and disciplined environment of a military academy would help channel Donald's energy in a more productive and focused direction. At NYMA, Trump thrived in the regimented atmosphere. He developed a reputation for being competitive, assertive, and ambitious. He quickly rose through the ranks and became a student leader, serving as captain of the baseball team and achieving a senior leadership position within the cadet corps. It was during these years that Trump began to hone his leadership qualities, develop a sense of confidence, and cultivate the public image of authority and control that would later define his public persona. After graduating from NYMA in 1964, Trump enrolled at Fordham University, a Jesuit institution located in the Bronx, New York. He spent 2 years there, but he was eager to transfer to a more prestigious program that aligned more directly with his business ambitions. In 1966, he transferred to the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, one of the few schools in America at the time that offered a concentration in real estate within its economics department. At Wharton, Trump studied finance and real estate, gaining valuable knowledge in economic theory, property valuation, investment strategies, and market analysis. He graduated in 1968 with a Bachelor of Science degree in economics. While he was not known as an exceptional student academically, his time at Wharton gave him access to key principles in business, and the school's prestigious name became a valuable credential in his later career. Trump has frequently highlighted his Wharton education as proof of his intelligence and preparation for success. These educational experiences, especially his time at the military academy in Wharton, played a significant role in shaping Donald Trump's outlook, teaching him discipline, the importance of appearance and dominance, and the foundational knowledge of business and real estate that he would later use to build his empire. After graduating from the Wharton School in 1968, Donald Trump immediately joined his father's real estate company, then known as Elizabeth Trump & Son, which primarily focused on middle-income housing in Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island. Donald showed ambition from the start, aiming to expand the company's operations into Manhattan, where he believed the stakes and the profits were much higher. Upon joining the company, he persuaded his father to support larger and riskier investments, especially in Manhattan's high-profile real estate market. In the 1970s, Trump began making a name for himself by taking on ambitious redevelopment projects. One of his early successes came with the transformation of the Commodore Hotel located next to Grand Central Terminal. In a complicated deal involving city tax abatements and financing from banks, Trump partnered with the Hyatt hotel chain and reopened the building in 1980 as the Grand Hyatt Hotel, a major win for his reputation as a deal-maker. However, his most iconic project during this period was the Trump Tower, a 58-story skyscraper located on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. Completed in 1983, the tower became Trump's signature real estate achievement, combining luxury apartments, office space, and a public atrium. It was also home to Trump's personal residence and the headquarters of the Trump Organization. The project not only cemented his status as a major figure in New York real estate, but also launched his brand into popular culture. The Trump name, emblazoned in gold letters on the tower, became synonymous with luxury, ambition, and bold architecture. Trump's strategy during these years was based heavily on leveraging borrowed money and media attention. He cultivated an image of himself as a young, fearless developer with a Midas touch. He used the press to promote his projects and enhance his brand, appearing in newspapers and magazines and eventually on television. By the mid-1980s, Donald Trump had become one of the most well-known real estate developers in the country. This early phase of his career laid the foundation for the Trump brand, a mixture of risk-taking, media savvy, and extravagant taste, and established him not only as a businessman but as a public figure with growing celebrity status. In the 1980s, as Donald Trump's real estate empire expanded, so did his presence in the media. He quickly recognized the power of publicity and skillfully used the press to build his personal brand. He became a frequent subject of newspaper headlines, magazine profiles, and television interviews. His flamboyant lifestyle, bold statements, and high-profile real estate ventures made him a favorite of tabloids and gossip columns, particularly in New York City. Trump's confidence, wealth, and brash personality helped him stand out, and he cultivated a persona that was equal parts businessman and celebrity. However, Trump's most significant entry into the mainstream media came in 2004 with the launch of the reality television show The Apprentice. Broadcast on NBC, the show featured Trump as the central figure, a powerful business tycoon overseeing a group of aspiring entrepreneurs competing for a chance to work with him. Each week, contestants faced business-related challenges, and Trump evaluated their performance before eliminating one with his now iconic phrase, "You're fired." The Apprentice was a major success, drawing millions of viewers and further boosting Trump's public image. It portrayed him as a decisive, intelligent, and commanding business leader. The show's success led to several spin-offs, including The Celebrity Apprentice, where celebrities competed for charity. Through these shows, Trump became a household name across the United States and even internationally. More than just entertainment, The Apprentice helped Trump reinvent himself during a time when some of his business ventures had faced setbacks. The show not only brought him financial gains, but also significantly raised his profile among everyday Americans, many of whom began to see him not just as a businessman, but as a leader and a symbol of success. His catchphrases, style, and charisma on screen laid the groundwork for his future political ambitions. Donald Trump's interest in politics dates back to the 1980s when he began commenting publicly on national and international issues. He frequently appeared in interviews where he criticized U.S. trade policies, government inefficiency, and the leadership of both Republican and Democratic presidents. Though he was primarily known as a businessman, his political commentary often drew attention. Over the years, Trump considered running for office multiple times, even briefly exploring a presidential run with the Reform Party in 2000, but he did not follow through. For decades, Trump was a political enigma. He donated to both Democratic and Republican politicians, and his own political affiliation shifted over time. However, his public persona, media presence, and outspoken nature kept him in the national spotlight as a potential political figure. In June 2015, Trump formally announced his candidacy for President of the United States as a Republican. His campaign launch at Trump Tower in New York City became instantly controversial and headline-making, especially due to his strong rhetoric on illegal immigration and his promise to make America great again, a slogan that would become the defining motto of his campaign. Unlike traditional politicians, Trump ran as an outsider, leveraging his fame, business background, and direct communication style to connect with a large segment of the American public who felt disillusioned with establishment politics. His candidacy was initially dismissed by many experts and media outlets, but his unfiltered speeches, social media presence, and ability to dominate news cycles helped him build a loyal base of supporters. Trump's entry into the 2016 presidential race marked the beginning of a political movement that would significantly reshape American politics. Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign was one of the most unconventional and controversial in American history. Running as a Republican, he positioned himself as a political outsider who would challenge the establishment, fix a rigged system, and return power to the American people. His campaign focused on strong immigration policies, economic nationalism, job creation, and renegotiating international trade deals. The slogan, "Make America Great Again," became the core of his message, resonating strongly with working-class voters across the country. Trump faced numerous Republican contenders in the primaries, including experienced politicians such as Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, and Marco Rubio. Despite being underestimated by many political analysts and mainstream media outlets, Trump secured the Republican nomination in July 2016, largely due to his ability to connect with disaffected voters and dominate media coverage. In the general election, Trump went up against Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton, a former First Lady, U.S. Senator, and Secretary of State. The campaign was marked by intense polarization, media scrutiny, and a series of controversies, including leaked emails from the Clinton campaign, debates over immigration and foreign policy, and the release of the infamous Access Hollywood tape. Despite trailing in many national polls leading up to the election, Trump achieved a surprising victory on November 8, 2016. He lost a popular vote to Hillary Clinton by nearly 3 million votes, but secured a decisive win in the Electoral College with 304 votes to Clinton's 227. This upset stunned political observers around the world and marked a major shift in American politics. On January 20, 2017, Donald J. Trump was officially sworn in as the 45th President of the United States. His inaugural address emphasized national unity, economic revival, and the promise to put America first. It was the beginning of a presidency that would prove to be both highly influential and deeply polarizing. During his first term in office, President Donald Trump focused on several key policy areas that would define his presidency and reshape many aspects of American governance. One of his most prominent issues was immigration. Trump campaigned on the promise of building a wall along the southern border with Mexico to curb illegal immigration. As president, he signed executive orders to tighten immigration policies, including a controversial travel ban targeting several predominantly Muslim countries, and reduced the number of refugees allowed into the United States. His administration also pursued a hard-line stance on border security, seeking to limit both illegal immigration and asylum claims. In the area of taxes, Trump passed a sweeping tax reform package known as the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. The law lowered the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, which was intended to stimulate economic growth by encouraging business investment and job creation. It also reduced individual income tax rates, though the benefits for middle-class Americans were more modest compared to those for corporations. The tax cuts were a key element of his economic policy, but they also led to an increase in the national deficit, which became a point of criticism from his political opponents. Another significant policy decision during Trump's presidency was his withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. Trump argued that the agreement was unfair to the United States and would hinder economic growth, particularly in industries such as coal and oil. His decision to exit the agreement was met with widespread criticism from environmentalists and many world leaders, but he maintained that it was in America's best interest to prioritize domestic economic growth and energy independence. In addition to these major policy areas, Trump took steps to reshape U.S. trade policy. His administration renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, replacing it with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, which aimed to create more favorable terms for American workers and industries. He also initiated a trade war with China, imposing tariffs on Chinese goods in an effort to reduce the U.S. trade deficit and address concerns over intellectual property theft and unfair trade practices. These policies, along with his aggressive stance on deregulation and efforts to strengthen the military, were central to Trump's presidency and helped solidify his appeal to his base, particularly among voters who felt left behind by globalization and the shifting dynamics of the modern economy. During his presidency, Donald Trump found himself at the center of numerous controversies, with his actions and behavior often drawing widespread criticism. The most significant of these controversies were the two impeachment proceedings he faced during his time in office, making him the first U.S. president in history to be impeached twice. The first impeachment occurred in 2019 and was centered around a phone call he had with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. During the call, Trump was accused of pressuring Zelensky to launch an investigation into Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, who had business dealings in Ukraine. The House of Representatives, controlled by Democrats, charged Trump with abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, arguing that he had used his office for personal political gain by withholding military aid from Ukraine as leverage. The House voted to impeach Trump along party lines, but when the case went to the Senate for trial, the Republican majority acquitted him on both charges. Critics of Trump viewed this as an attempt to influence the 2020 presidential election, while his supporters argued that the impeachment was politically motivated and lacked substantial evidence. Trump's second impeachment came just a week before the end of his term, following the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. On that day, a mob of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, seeking to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election, which Trump had falsely claimed was stolen from him. The riot led to the deaths of several people and caused significant damage to the Capitol building. In the wake of the attack, the House of Representatives charged Trump with incitement of insurrection, accusing him of encouraging the violence through his rhetoric and claims of election fraud. The House voted to impeach Trump for a second time, making him the first president in U.S. history to be impeached twice. The Senate trial took place after Trump left office, and although 7 Republican senators joined Democrats in voting to convict him, the final vote did not reach the required two-thirds majority, and Trump was acquitted once again. Both impeachment trials and the events surrounding them deepened the political divisions in the country. While Trump's supporters viewed the impeachments as an attack on his presidency and a partisan effort to undermine his leadership, his detractors argued that his actions were an abuse of power and a threat to democracy. Despite the impeachment proceedings, Trump remained a dominant figure in the Republican Party, and his influence continued to shape American politics even after he left office. The 2020 presidential election marked a significant turning point in Donald Trump's political career. The election took place in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, which had devastated the U.S. economy and claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. Trump's handling of the pandemic became one of the major points of contention during the election campaign. On the other hand, his opponent Joe Biden, the former vice president under Barack Obama, campaigned on promises of unity, competence, and a more effective response to the pandemic. As election night drew to a close, the results in key battleground states were too close to call. In the days following the election, as mail-in ballots were counted, Biden's lead grew, particularly in states like Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan. By November 7, 2020, Biden was declared the winner, having secured 306 electoral votes to Trump's 232. In addition to losing the Electoral College, Trump also lost the popular vote by more than 7 million votes, with Biden receiving approximately 81 million votes compared to Trump's 74 million. Trump and his legal team immediately began to challenge the election results, claiming widespread voter fraud and alleging that the election had been stolen from him. Despite numerous legal challenges in several states and repeated claims of fraud, none of the lawsuits were successful in overturning the results. The Department of Justice under Trump's own administration found no evidence of widespread fraud, and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, called the 2020 election the most secure in American history. However, Trump refused to concede and continued to promote unfounded claims of election rigging. His rhetoric further fueled the anger and frustration among his supporters. The situation escalated on January 6, 2021, when a large group of Trump supporters, spurred by his baseless claims and a rally where he encouraged them to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard, stormed the U.S. Capitol in an attempt to stop Congress from certifying the election results. This attack on the Capitol led to widespread violence, the deaths of 5 people, and the evacuation of lawmakers. The event was widely condemned across the political spectrum, with many seeing it as an unprecedented attack on American democracy. Trump's response to the Capitol riot and his role in inciting it led to his second impeachment by the House of Representatives. The incident also left Trump politically isolated, with many of his allies distancing themselves from him in the aftermath. Despite all this, Trump's claims of a stolen election remained popular among a significant portion of his base, and he continued to push for investigations into the results, though none were substantiated by credible evidence. After his defeat in the 2020 presidential election, Donald Trump did not fade from the political scene. Instead, he immediately began laying the groundwork for a potential political comeback. Despite his loss to Joe Biden, Trump remained deeply influential within the Republican Party. His Make America Great Again movement continued to resonate with a large portion of the American electorate, particularly among voters who felt alienated by the political establishment. Trump's populist rhetoric and his staunch opposition to the policies of the Biden administration kept him in the public eye and solidified his base of support. By 2021, even after the Capitol riot and his second impeachment, Trump remained active in political affairs. He continued to hold rallies, endorse candidates for various positions, and criticize the policies of the Biden administration. Many of his rallies, often filled with chants of Trump 2024, suggested that he was not ready to leave the political stage. Trump's influence within the Republican Party also remained strong, with many GOP leaders and elected officials continuing to support him despite the controversies surrounding his presidency. In 2022, after much speculation, Trump made his political comeback official. He announced that he would be running for president again in the 2024 election. His decision to run was not unexpected, as he had consistently hinted at it during his speeches and rallies. However, his announcement signaled that he was serious about challenging Joe Biden for the presidency once more. Trump's announcement to run for president again in 2024 came at a time when the political landscape was significantly different from when he first ran in 2016. While the country faced challenges related to the pandemic, economic recovery, and social justice movements, Trump's ability to connect with voters who felt disillusioned with the current state of politics remained a key aspect of his appeal. His platform largely echoed many of the same themes he campaigned on in 2016: strong immigration policies, economic nationalism, America First foreign policy, and criticism of the political elite. Trump's decision to run also sparked a wave of competition within the Republican Party, with potential challengers such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and other prominent Republican figures positioning themselves as alternatives to Trump. Nonetheless, Trump maintained a loyal and enthusiastic following among his supporters, who believed that he could restore the country to what they perceived as its former greatness. As of 2023, Trump's political comeback efforts were in full swing, with rallies, endorsements, and campaign speeches aimed at re-energizing his base. Whether he will be successful in securing the Republican nomination again or face opposition within his own party remained uncertain. Regardless of the outcome, Trump's bid for a second non-consecutive term had the potential to significantly shape the course of American politics for years to come. In the 2024 presidential election, Donald Trump made a remarkable comeback, successfully securing the Republican nomination and eventually defeating Joe Biden in a fiercely contested race. The election, held amidst a turbulent political climate, economic challenges, and ongoing global issues, was one of the most anticipated and divisive in modern American history. Trump's campaign capitalized on his established base, promising to restore American greatness, prioritize national security, and revive the economy that had suffered under the previous administration. Throughout the election cycle, Trump faced significant opposition not only from Democratic supporters of President Biden, but also from within his own party. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and other Republican figures posed strong challenges, yet Trump's dominance within the GOP remained steadfast. His rhetoric, focusing on immigration, America First policies, and an aggressive stance against perceived political elites, resonated with a wide segment of the electorate, especially those who felt disillusioned with the direction the country was headed under the Biden administration. As the results came in on election night, Trump's path to victory became clear. His message of economic recovery, coupled with his staunch nationalism and promises to combat illegal immigration and restore American manufacturing, attracted millions of voters, particularly from Middle America and key battleground states. While the election was contested with claims of voter fraud and legal challenges, echoing the claims he made in 2020, the final results confirmed Trump's victory. On January 20, 2025, Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, becoming the second president in American history to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, joining the ranks of Grover Cleveland. His second inauguration marked the beginning of a new chapter in his political career, as he promised to address the pressing issues of the day, including economic recovery, healthcare reform, and national security. His victory was seen by his supporters as a vindication of his populist message and a rejection of the policies of the previous administration. During his second term, Trump sought to implement the promises he had made during his campaign with a focus on economic reform, job creation, and deregulation. His administration worked to renegotiate trade deals, especially with China and Europe, and to revive the manufacturing sector. On the domestic front, Trump pushed for tax cuts, further restriction on immigration, and an emphasis on American-made products. He also continued to be a vocal critic of globalism, advocating for American sovereignty on the world stage. Internationally, Trump sought to maintain his America First foreign policy, distancing the United States from international agreements and organizations that he believed were disadvantageous to American interests. His administration took a hard stance on issues like climate change, NATO, and global trade, while also fostering strong relationships with like-minded countries, including Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Hungary. Despite facing intense criticism from opponents, Trump's second presidency proved that his political influence was far from waning. His policies, though divisive, reshaped the American political landscape and left a lasting legacy on the country's economic and foreign policies. Trump's return to the White House solidified his position as a defining figure in 21st century American politics, continuing to champion a vision of American nationalism and populism that would reverberate for years to come. As Donald Trump began his second term as president on January 20, 2025, he swiftly turned his focus to the key issues that had shaped his first term and continued to resonate deeply with his base. With a renewed sense of purpose, Trump's early policies revolved around strengthening America's borders, advancing immigration reform, ensuring energy independence, and reaffirming his America First agenda. These policies reflected his commitment to national security, economic sovereignty, and patriotism, and laid the foundation for his second presidency. One of Trump's top priorities was immigration reform. Building on the successes and challenges of his first term, where he had pushed for a border wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, Trump sought to implement more comprehensive immigration laws. His administration focused on tightening border security through enhanced surveillance technologies and the further expansion of the wall in key areas. Trump also continued to press for policies aimed at curbing illegal immigration and reducing the number of asylum seekers entering the United States, aligning with his broader goal of protecting American jobs and national security. His immigration reforms were meant to address what he considered to be the dangers of uncontrolled immigration, ensuring that only those who contributed positively to American society were allowed to enter. The second major policy area was border security. Trump's administration pushed for even stricter policies to prevent illegal immigration. He called for increasing the number of Border Patrol agents and improving technology at the border to monitor and deter illegal crossings. In addition to reinforcing physical barriers, Trump advocated for stronger penalties for those caught entering the country unlawfully, including efforts to penalize businesses that employed illegal immigrants. His administration was focused on zero tolerance for illegal immigration, a theme that continued throughout his presidency. Another critical aspect of Trump's second-term policies was energy independence. Trump had always been an advocate for American energy production, and he took swift action in his second term to secure energy independence for the United States. His administration moved forward with plans to expand domestic oil and gas production, particularly from shale deposits, and sought to reduce reliance on foreign oil. Trump also focused on reviving the coal industry, pushing back against environmental regulations that he believed hindered American energy production. His goal was to create energy security by making the United States a net exporter of energy, ensuring that America would no longer be dependent on foreign nations for its energy needs. Trump also focused on economic growth through deregulation, aiming to create a business-friendly environment. He sought to reduce government intervention in the market and provide incentives for American companies to create jobs and invest in American innovation. His administration pushed for tax cuts, particularly for corporations, with the aim of spurring economic activity and ensuring the country's competitive advantage in the global market. Trump's early economic policies, including his focus on energy production and manufacturing, were designed to reinvigorate sectors of the economy that he felt had been neglected in the previous decades. Furthermore, Trump's foreign policy approach during his second term remained firmly rooted in his America First strategy. He continued to challenge international agreements that he believed disadvantaged American interests, including further withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord and questioning the role of the U.S. in multinational organizations like the United Nations. His administration worked to renegotiate trade deals, especially focusing on reducing trade deficits with China and Mexico, and he continued to promote a protectionist stance, prioritizing American businesses over global interest. As the second term progressed, Trump's policies on immigration, border security, and energy independence were at the forefront of his administration's efforts. His approach to governance continued to be polarizing, but his unwavering commitment to his core supporters ensured that these policies received significant backing. By focusing on these issues early in his second term, Trump aimed to secure his legacy as a president who stood firmly for American interests and national sovereignty. During Donald Trump's second presidency, international relations became a defining aspect of his administration, marked by both continued diplomatic engagement and significant conflicts. One of the most critical and ongoing issues was the trade war with China, which had begun during his first term but continued to dominate the global stage throughout his second term. The trade negotiations between the United States and China remained tense, with Trump pursuing policies designed to reduce the U.S. trade deficit with China and address issues like intellectual property theft, forced technology transfers, and market access restrictions. His administration implemented additional tariffs on Chinese goods, prompting retaliatory measures from China. While Trump believed these tariffs would pressure China into fairer trade practices, it also led to volatility in global markets and strained relations between the two largest economies in the world. Despite the ongoing trade conflict with China, Trump also worked on renegotiating and securing better trade deals with other countries. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, was one of the key achievements in terms of regional trade, replacing the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. However, while the agreement received praise for modernizing trade in North America, relations with Canada experienced some strains during Trump's second term, particularly regarding tariffs on steel and aluminum. Tensions over trade policies and disagreements on key issues continued to shape the U.S.-Canada relationship, causing disruptions in the traditionally close alliance between the two countries. In addition to the China trade war and tensions with Canada, Trump's foreign policy was also marked by a series of controversial moves in the Middle East and beyond. While his administration continued to push for peace agreements between Israel and Arab nations, including the Abraham Accords that saw normalization agreements with countries like the UAE and Bahrain, Trump's stance on other international conflicts and alliances often drew criticism. His decision to withdraw U.S. troops from key regions, such as Syria and Afghanistan, was met with mixed reactions. Critics argued that it weakened American influence in these regions, while his supporters saw it as a promise kept to end endless wars and bring American forces home. The U.S.-European Union relationship also faced challenges during Trump's second term, as his administration pursued more protectionist policies and questioned the role of international institutions like the World Trade Organization and NATO. His skepticism towards globalism and multilateral agreements continued to strain traditional alliances, particularly with European leaders who were concerned about Trump's disregard for long-standing diplomatic norms. This often led to friction between the U.S. and key European nations, particularly when Trump pushed for more equitable burden sharing within NATO and threatened to reduce U.S. support for the organization. Additionally, Trump's foreign policy decisions regarding Russia were often contentious. While he maintained a critical stance on Russia's interference in U.S. politics and election processes, he also expressed admiration for Vladimir Putin and sought to improve bilateral relations, leading to accusations that he was too lenient towards the Russian government. This complex dynamic between competition and cooperation with Russia continued to be a source of domestic and international controversy throughout his second term. Trump's international relations and foreign policy in his second term were characterized by a continuation of the America First approach, with a focus on securing national interests, renegotiating trade deals, and questioning traditional alliances. However, his often unpredictable style and willingness to challenge international norms led to significant tensions with both adversaries and allies alike, making the United States' position on the global stage more uncertain. During Donald Trump's second presidency, sports played a notable role, both in terms of personal interest and the strategic appointments he made. One of the most significant moves related to sports during his second term was his involvement in securing the 2026 FIFA World Cup for the United States, Canada, and Mexico. In 2018, under Trump's leadership, the United Bid Committee, comprising the three North American nations, successfully won the rights to host the 2026 World Cup. This victory was seen as a significant achievement for North America, as it marked the first time the World Cup would be hosted by 3 countries. To oversee the preparations and ensure the successful execution of the tournament, Trump appointed former New York City Mayor Andrew Giuliani as the executive director of the 2026 FIFA World Cup Task Force. Giuliani, who had been a prominent figure in New York politics and a supporter of Trump, was chosen due to his administrative experience and his strong ties to both politics and sports. This appointment was seen as a strategic move by Trump, who believed that Giuliani's leadership skills would play a vital role in organizing the World Cup and ensuring it ran smoothly across the 3 host nations. The decision to involve Giuliani in the process reflected Trump's ongoing interest in elevating the profile of American sports and increasing the country's global stature in the international sporting community. Hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup was part of Trump's broader vision to bolster the U.S.'s influence in global affairs, not just in terms of politics and economics, but also in sports. The tournament was expected to bring significant attention and tourism to the host countries, particularly the United States, which had previously hosted the World Cup in 1994. In addition to this key appointment, Trump also maintained a long-standing relationship with various American sports leagues. He frequently expressed his admiration for athletes, particularly those who stood out for their hard work and dedication to their respective sports. Trump's influence in the sports world was evident in the number of athletes who publicly supported him during his presidency. He also made various appointments related to sports governance, ensuring that his administration's interests in American sports were represented on the global stage. Overall, Trump's focus on sports and his role in facilitating the 2026 FIFA World Cup reflected his broader interest in improving the global perception of the United States and promoting national pride through sports. By leveraging such high-profile appointments, he sought to leave a lasting impact on the world of sports, enhancing both his legacy and the country's reputation in the international sporting arena. Donald Trump has always had a deep personal connection to the world of golf, which played a significant role in his business empire even before his presidency. Over the years, Trump has developed several high-profile golf courses, which have become a central part of his brand identity. His golf courses are not just recreational facilities, but also key locations for international sporting events. One of the most notable properties is the Trump International Golf Links in Scotland. Trump's golf courses have been involved in numerous prestigious events, and this connection continues well beyond his presidency. A key event on the horizon is the 2025 DP World Tour Scottish Championship, which is set to be hosted at Trump International Golf Links, Scotland. This tournament, part of the DP World Tour, formerly the European Tour, is a major event in the world of professional golf, attracting top players from around the globe. Hosting such a prestigious event at one of his courses is part of Trump's strategy to solidify his presence in the global sports industry. The Trump International Golf Links, Scotland, located near Aberdeen, has long been a source of pride for Trump, who has invested millions into ensuring the course's global reputation. The course itself is known for its stunning links design, which combines both natural beauty and challenging golfing conditions. Trump's involvement in such major golf tournaments not only reinforces his love for the sport, but also enhances his image in the world of luxury tourism and sports. Hosting the 2025 DP World Tour Scottish Championship is a testament to Trump's enduring influence in the world of golf, even after his presidency. His association with such events showcases his broader business vision, which integrates luxury real estate with high-profile international events. This collaboration allows Trump to maintain a lasting impact on the global sporting scene, particularly in golf, which has been a key part of his public persona. In addition to his own courses, Trump has also been involved in organizing or supporting various high-profile golf-related events globally, with the aim of promoting the sport and elevating the profile of his brand. Through his golf courses and the events hosted there, Trump continues to be an influential figure in the world of luxury sports and global tourism, with an eye on leaving a legacy in both the business and sporting worlds. Donald Trump's presidency and his business ventures have been subject to intense criticism and scrutiny from various circles, particularly when it comes to his policies on environmental protection and human rights. Throughout his time in office and even after his tenure, Trump's approach to these crucial issues has sparked a heated debate both domestically and internationally. One of the most significant points of contention has been Trump's stance on environmental issues. His administration's decision to withdraw the United States from the Paris Climate Agreement in 2017 was met with strong condemnation from environmentalists, scientists, and world leaders. Critics argue that this move undermined global efforts to combat climate change and put the planet's future at risk. Trump, on the other hand, defended his decision by claiming that the agreement was unfair to American workers and that it disadvantaged U.S. businesses. However, this move further isolated the U.S. from the international community, particularly environmental organizations, who viewed this as a step backward in addressing global environmental concerns. In addition to environmental concerns, Trump's record on human rights has also been a focal point of criticism. His administration's immigration policies, including the controversial zero-tolerance policy that resulted in the separation of families at the U.S.-Mexico border, sparked outrage among human rights organizations and global leaders. Critics argued that the policy violated basic human rights and treated asylum seekers and refugees in an inhumane manner. The uproar was especially intense when images of children being separated from their parents went viral, drawing condemnation from around the world. Trump's support for certain authoritarian leaders, such as Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, further fueled concerns about his commitment to human rights and democracy. His tendency to downplay or dismiss allegations of human rights abuses in these countries was viewed by many as an endorsement of oppressive regimes and a departure from the values of freedom and democracy that have long been associated with American foreign policy. Furthermore, Trump's handling of the Black Lives Matter movement and protests against racial inequality also drew criticism. His response to the protests and his controversial remarks, including the infamous "when the looting starts, the shooting starts" comment, alienated many Americans who were advocating for racial justice and equality. These actions were seen as further dividing the nation along racial and political lines. Despite the widespread criticism of his policies on environmental protection and human rights, Trump has continued to defend his actions, often dismissing the criticism as politically motivated or as part of a deep state conspiracy. His supporters, on the other hand, argue that his policies were necessary to protect American interests, both economically and security-wise, and they continue to back him in the face of criticism. In summary, while Trump has garnered immense support from his base for his economic policies and America First approach, his record on environmental issues, human rights, and social justice remains deeply controversial. These ongoing challenges and criticisms will likely continue to shape his political legacy and influence his future endeavors in both the business and political arenas. In the early months of 2025, Donald Trump's popularity has seen a noticeable decline. While he still commands a significant portion of his base, his approval ratings have dropped, and public opinion on his policies is increasingly divided. This shift in sentiment reflects the evolving political landscape, as well as the ongoing controversies that have surrounded his career, both as a businessman and as a former president. Trump's approval ratings had always been polarized throughout his presidency, with fervent supporters and vocal critics. However, in 2025, surveys and polls indicate that his support base is becoming more fragmented. Polls suggest that many of his former supporters are now uncertain about his future political endeavors, particularly as they weigh his policies and leadership style. Independent voters who played a crucial role in previous elections have shown less enthusiasm for Trump's potential comeback in 2024. One factor contributing to this declining popularity is the ongoing criticism of his handling of key issues, such as the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath. Trump's response to the pandemic has been heavily scrutinized, especially as the long-term impact of the virus continues to affect the American public. Many Americans feel that his administration's initial handling of the crisis was inadequate, which has left a lingering sense of dissatisfaction with his leadership. Additionally, Trump's controversial remarks and policies during his first term have left lasting scars on his public image. The racial tensions, immigration policies, and his handling of critical events like the January 6th Capitol riots have all contributed to a polarizing legacy. As the nation continues to recover from the events of the Trump era, there is a growing desire among certain sections of the public for a change in direction. Despite these challenges, Trump still enjoys a loyal following, particularly among conservative voters and Republican officials. His influence within the Republican Party remains strong, and he continues to play a prominent role in shaping the party's future agenda. Many of his supporters believe that he represents the best hope for reversing what they perceive as a decline in American values, particularly under the administration of his successor, Joe Biden. Polls also indicate that Trump's popularity fluctuates depending on the region and the issues at hand. While his approval in red states, Republican-leaning states, remains robust, his support is more tenuous in blue states, Democratic-leaning states. The divide reflects the larger political polarization that defines American politics today, with Trump's legacy and actions still evoking strong emotions across the political spectrum. Ultimately, the future of Trump's political influence is uncertain. His diminishing popularity, combined with publicly divided opinions, suggests that he faces an uphill battle as he prepares for a potential 2024 comeback. However, his continued relevance in the national conversation and his ability to maintain a dedicated base of supporters ensure that he remains a formidable figure in American politics. After his return to the political arena in 2025, Donald Trump has outlined several key initiatives and goals for the future. These plans largely focus on economic growth, immigration reform, and strengthening international relations, which were central to his platform during both his first and second presidential terms. However, with shifting political dynamics, his goals for the upcoming years reflect both continuity and new challenges that have emerged since his earlier administration. One of Trump's primary goals remains the revitalization of the U.S. economy. After the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, he aims to implement aggressive tax cuts, deregulation efforts, and policies that prioritize job creation and the American workforce. Trump's focus on bringing back manufacturing jobs to the U.S. is central to his economic agenda, as he believes that reducing reliance on foreign imports will be crucial for long-term economic prosperity. American companies are expected to benefit from corporate tax breaks, and small businesses will receive enhanced support to stimulate growth and job creation. Immigration reform is another cornerstone of Trump's future plans. He intends to continue his aggressive stance on immigration, focusing on stricter border controls and policies designed to reduce the number of undocumented immigrants entering the country. Trump's previous administration placed significant emphasis on building a border wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, and he is expected to pursue similar initiatives in the future. His immigration policies are expected to prioritize the protection of American workers, ensuring that immigrants entering the country have skills that contribute directly to the nation's economy. In the realm of foreign policy, Trump aims to reset America's international relations, particularly with China and Russia. He has indicated a desire to continue pursuing trade deals that benefit the United States, focusing on fairer trade agreements and a stronger stance on intellectual property rights. Trump's approach to foreign relations is expected to maintain a nationalist and America-first focus, while also seeking to build stronger alliances with NATO members and other global partners who share his vision of an America-centered world order. In addition to economic and immigration policies, Trump has voiced his support for military expansion and national security, seeking to bolster America's military presence globally. With ongoing geopolitical tensions, particularly in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, Trump's administration will likely prioritize increased defense spending and stronger alliances with countries that support U.S. interests. However, these ambitious plans face significant challenges. Trump's polarizing legacy continues to influence his political career, and gaining widespread support for his agenda will likely require bridging divides within the political establishment. Moreover, while his base remains fiercely loyal, his controversial approach to governance often leaves him at odds with critics in both the Republican and Democratic parties. Overcoming the challenges of partisan politics will be a key factor in determining the success of his future plans. Despite these hurdles, Trump's resilience and ability to shape the political conversation in the United States cannot be understated. Whether or not he will achieve all his objectives remains to be seen, but his continued presence on the political stage, combined with his ability to mobilize his supporters, ensures that he will remain a major player in the nation's future. Donald Trump's personal life has been just as publicized and eventful as his political career. He has been married 3 times, and his relationships, marriages, and family dynamics have been closely scrutinized by the media throughout the years. His personal life, much like his professional life, is intertwined with his public persona, making his family an important aspect of his image. Trump's first marriage was to Ivana Zelníková, a former Czechoslovakian skier and model. They married in 1977, and together they had 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. Their marriage lasted until 1992, after which they divorced amidst reports of infidelity. Ivana remained a prominent figure in Trump's life and in the business world, even after their divorce. She went on to work as a businesswoman and even wrote several books about her experiences. Following his divorce from Ivana, Trump married Marla Maples in 1993. Marla, an actress and television personality, gave birth to Tiffany Trump in 1993. However, their marriage was short-lived and they divorced in 1999. Tiffany has largely stayed out of the limelight compared to her half-siblings, but she has pursued a career in law and politics, and she has often been seen supporting her father at various public events. In 2005, Trump married Melania Naus, a former Slovenian model. Their wedding was a highly publicized affair, and Melania became the first lady when Trump won the presidency in 2016. They have one son together, Baron William Trump, born in 2006. Melania's role as First Lady was marked by her focus on children's well-being, her Be Best campaign, and her relatively low-profile public appearances compared to previous First Ladies. Throughout his marriages, Trump has maintained close relationships with his children, who have all played significant roles in his business ventures and political life. Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric have all worked for the Trump Organization, with Ivanka taking on an official role as an advisor in her father's administration. Donald Jr. and Eric have also become outspoken political figures in their own right, frequently appearing at rallies and public events to support their father's policies and initiatives. Ivanka Trump is one of the most well-known members of the Trump family. She initially worked in the fashion industry before joining her father's company. Later, during the Trump administration, she became a senior advisor to the president and championed women's rights and entrepreneurship. Her business ventures, philanthropic efforts, and advocacy for women in the workplace made her a significant figure in American politics, though her involvement in the Trump administration was not without controversy. Eric Trump, who handles the operations of the Trump Organization alongside his brother Donald Jr., is also deeply involved in politics and has played a significant role in fundraising for the Trump campaign. The Trump children often speak on behalf of their father at rallies, and they maintain a strong presence in both the business world and politics. Although Trump's family members have been both supportive and active in his ventures, they have also faced public scrutiny, especially in the context of his presidency. His children's roles in the Trump Organization and their influence in his administration have been topics of ethical concerns and legal challenges. Nevertheless, the Trump family's presence has been a constant through his career, with members actively engaging in both his business pursuits and political agenda. In sum, Trump's personal life and family are deeply intertwined with his political and business persona. His children's involvement in his endeavors has added another layer to his public image, making them important figures in the narrative of his success and controversies. Donald Trump's life and career have been nothing short of controversial and influential. From his beginnings in the world of real estate, his rise to fame as a media personality, to his unexpected and highly publicized presidency, Trump has managed to shape both the American political landscape and global perceptions of the United States. Throughout his career, Trump has been both admired and criticized. As a businessman, he capitalized on his family's real estate empire, expanding it into a global brand despite occasional setbacks and bankruptcies. His larger-than-life persona and media savvy turned him into a national figure, not just in business but in entertainment, with the success of his show The Apprentice. This media presence helped him build a direct connection with the American public, paving the way for his unexpected political career. When it comes to politics, Trump's presidency reshaped the Republican Party and American politics in general. His America First policies were both lauded by his supporters and condemned by his critics. On one hand, his economic policies, such as tax cuts and deregulation, bolstered economic growth before the pandemic. On the other hand, his approach to international relations, including his handling of trade wars and his withdrawal from multilateral agreements like the Paris Climate Accord, generated significant international controversy. His administration was marked by deep partisan divisions, leading to a polarized America. Trump's time in office was also characterized by intense scrutiny, impeachment proceedings, and accusations of mismanagement, particularly regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. Despite these challenges, his supporters remained loyal, viewing him as a disruptor who fought for the average American. His style of leadership, often characterized by bold statements and unconventional tactics, further divided the nation but also created a loyal political base that continues to be a driving force in American politics. The events following his defeat in the 2020 elections and the subsequent January 6 Capitol riot highlighted the extent of political polarization in the United States. While many of his supporters believe the 2020 election was stolen, his detractors view him as a threat to American democracy. The legal and political fallout from these events will likely continue to play out in the coming years, adding complexity to his legacy. In conclusion, Donald Trump's influence on the modern political landscape cannot be overstated. His career, marked by both triumphs and controversies, has left an indelible mark on the United States and the world. The future will likely continue to feel the effects of his presidency, whether through his impact on the Republican Party, his role in American politics, or his lasting influence on global affairs. His life serves as a testament to the power of self-promotion, media manipulation, and a deeply divisive political climate. The legacy of Donald Trump, whether viewed as positive or negative, will undoubtedly be a subject of debate for many years to come.